Okay, so this is part 3 of the 2.2 section. We're going to look at parallel and perpendicular lines. So we talked earlier about the parallel lines. They have the same slope. Perpendicular lines will be opposite reciprocal, or if you multiply them together, you'll get -1. That's another way you can tell for sure. So number 7 reads parallel. We want to write an equation of a line parallel to y equals 2x plus 5, and it passes through the point 4, 3. So the point 4, 3 or 4 comma 3 is going to be our x sub 1, y sub 1, and then our slope needs to be 2 because we want the line parallel to it. So m equals 2. And I have the point 4 comma 3. You have enough information to practice writing an equation of a line on your own first. You could either use point slope form, y minus y sub 1 equals m x minus x sub 1. If that's something that's hard for you to remember, then you should write that on your index card for quizzes and for the 140 hybrid. But if you're just coming in for exams, you get a note card as well. 140, I think you just get a note card on the final. You'll have to check your syllabus, but make sure you either memorize it or jot it down somewhere, depending what you're allowed. So go ahead and do that one, and then I'll write it in. Your other method you could do is just put the slope and the point in to y equals mx plus b, and then find b. Be careful because you do not have b. B's only when x is 0. It's the corresponding y, so be careful. That's a real common mistake. People just pop that. They would just say y equals 2x plus 3, but that's not true because the x we have is not 0. So I'll leave that one for you to try. So pause the video. So the answer you would get is y equals 2x minus 5. I do have the steps there for both methods, the point slope form, and you can, just skip over this part if you got it. But if you don't, I'll go through it. Y minus 3 equals 2 times quantity x minus 4. Then I have y minus 3 equals 2x minus 8. And then finally, add the 3 to both sides, get y equals 2x minus 5. The other method, I am just putting the x and y values in to y equals mx plus b form. And so I have 3 equals 2 times 4 plus b. And then I subtract 8 from both sides, and I get minus 5 equals b. I wrote out the steps, but you don't have to do all that. And then the b just gets subbed in for b in the form. 3 goes in for y and 4 goes in for x. So I get the same answer, y equals 2x minus 5. So number 8 says write the equation of a line perpendicular to 3y equals x minus 4 and passes through the point -2 comma 1. So I think once we make sure we establish what the slope is, then you'll be able to solve it out. So I'll just pause the video and you can work it out yourself. So we have perpendicular to 3y equals x minus 4. So we have to figure out what the slope is for this. We're not given it, obviously. So we need to divide both sides by 3, get our y by itself, and then we got to split this apart. The x minus 4 all divided by 3 would be 1/3 x minus 4/3. So our slope for the line we're given is 1/3, but we want the slope of what's perpendicular. So we're going to do the negative reciprocal, which would be just invert it around. So we would get -3/1, or just really -3. Then I would plug into either form. I'm going to just plug right into y equals mx plus b. That's the way I always learned it. I didn't really ever use the other one until I had to teach it. So it can be convenient, but a lot of times this way is quicker. So my point is -2, 1. So I'm going to put 1 in for y equals, my slope is -3. My x is -2. My b, I don't know, so I just write plus b. So here we have 1 equals -3 times -2 plus b. So we want to write 1 equals 6 plus b. And we are going to subtract 6 from both sides. And we get -5 equals b. So now my final answer would be y equals -3x minus 5. I just have a few more things to do. We have number 9 is -2, 0 and -2, 5. And it's asking you to just write the equation of the line for that. Well, first, if we sketch it, I think we might find that helpful. If we look at, I made just a little grid x and y axis with tick marks on it. And we're truly just sketching, nothing fancy here. So we're going to plot those points, -2, 0. And -2, 5. If we connect them, we get a vertical line. That means we have an undefined slope. So really, if we were to put this into the slope formula, we would have m equals 5 minus 0 over -2 minus -2, which would give us 5 over 0, which would be undefined. So I know I have a vertical line, and what equation is it though? It's really x equals -2. It's -2 here, there, everywhere on that line. So if I were to make a t-chart, for instance, and I was given x equals -2, I would just say x is -2, y is, I don't know, 0, x is -2, y is 1,000,000. You know, it really is anywhere, as long as there's no restriction, it would go to infinity. So you can notice here that -2 you have for both x's there. So that would be my equation, x equals -2. Now this one I don't really, number 10, I don't need to graph it. I can notice 1, 4 and 3, 4. Those are my points. So I have y's that are the same. So I would just say y equals 4. That's my equation of the line. But just to show you what it looks like, it would be 1, 4 would be right about there, 1 unit up. Or right and 4 units up. And then 3 units right, 4 units up. So I would have a horizontal line, and my slope would be 0, because if I plugged in like I did before m into the slope formula, I would have m equals 4 minus 4 in the numerator over 3 minus 1 in the denominator, and I would have 0 over 2, which equals 0. So now when I look at number 11 and it says undefined slope passes through 2, 3, that point, I know that I would have a vertical line going through the point 2, 3. So my x is going to be 2 everywhere. So I would just write x equals 2. That's my answer. Number 12, slope is 0 and passes through 1, 4. And so if I have a zero slope, I know I have a horizontal line and it's going to go through, it's 1 comma -4. I don't know if I said negative. So I would say y equals -4, and that would be my equation. And here's a little graph here I'm going to draw for you. Just as an image there, but if I were to graph these 2 lines, x equals -3 is a vertical line and y equals -2 is a horizontal line. I'm just gonna kind of sketch where they go. So -3 for x would be right a few units to the left. And then I would have y equals -2, 2 units down, in a horizontal line. And so they intersect actually at -3, -2. If they were written as a system of equations, that would be your answer. So to label that, you don't usually need to label every point on the graph or any points. You can just write y equals -2 next to the line somewhere. And for the vertical line, I would just write x equals -3. All right, so that is it for those that section and those type of graphs. So I hope that helps, and have a great day.